Welcome out
It's here.
to another week of Gundam Wingsday, which is my second favorite time of the week because I'm building Gundams again. Out here in Chicago, lovely backdrop right up over here, seeing a little bit of the city there. We are working still on Wing Zero, high grade model specifically as well. Really awesome piece here. Liking what I'm working on so far. Got some things to still do with it, and that's what we're going to be jumping into tonight. And so, once again, welcome, checking it out. Newer series, but these are some high grade model kits, and high grades are definitely a little bit different here. Because seam lines, because of painting and model colors, we don't nearly have as many parts, and so sometimes color accuracy is quite off because of it. So we got a couple things to do tonight, even left over from last time. I didn't sand some pieces. I brought some with me. I didn't bring it all on this, work trip. But on top of that, super glad I was able to bring it with me because I was in New Orleans was hit pretty good by the hurricane this past little bit. So my family and I are safe, in case you were wondering. But if we weren't here, we wouldn't be streaming at all. So glad I had the chance to stream. So we got some sanding to do tonight to go ahead and finish up some of these parts that we worked on last week. But additionally, we have some some scribing to do. So why do we want to do some scribing is actually probably even a really good question. And as a matter of fact, in our booklet, we can kind of see it right here. We got a seam line where these two pieces of the shoulder meet together right there. And those seam lines, we want to fix them up by specifically scribing them out. And they kind of look like this, and that way we can also panel line that a little bit. Right now you can't see too much of it. It is there, but there's just a little bit there. So, oh, I just noticed I didn't bring guide tape, so I'm going to have to do that by hand. Do note that when you're scribing, guide tape is definitely one of your best friends. And tonight, I'm going to have to go free-handed as well. So we'll do our best with what we can with it. I do all right free-handed. I try not to go free-handed because, once again, it can be tough. Oh, and I left my daggum Allen wrench for my scribing tool at home. So, woo! I'm gonna go with a pretty thin head here as well. So I think that's the 0.4 millimeters head on this one. So it's gonna be a pretty thin panel line. So we're gonna show you how to do that. We should be able to get away with it though still. Make it look pretty good for those pieces. So we're gonna scribe those. We're gonna sand this down. We already did the gluing for it so that the seam line is gone. Sorry if the light is too harsh. And then once we're done with those pieces, we should be able to actually fully dedicate ourselves to working on the legs tonight, which is, if you ask me, it's pretty exciting. Legs are an exciting part of the Gundam to work on. And so there's our introduction for what we got going on tonight. We're going to go ahead and start with our scribing first. And I think I'm going to make some makeshift guide tape as well. We're just going to make a straight line. So I've got a tool here. This is actually a scribing tool though as well. Mark off the areas, use your tool then to just, scrape out the areas specifically with it. We're going to use the edge here to actually give ourselves a guide. So I'm actually going to hold it as firmly as I can up against it right here. Right here up against it. And then I'm going to take my tool to kind of, once again, etch out just a little bit. Very soft. The harder you press down with it, the more accurate you the more accuracy you lose. Now we will get to a certain point where it's deep enough so that we can actually just scribe it out by hand there afterwards. But good scribing just takes time. Don't try to rush it. Slowly scribe it out. Once you got a good groove there, then you can be a little bit more aggressive as well, like I am being right now. And we'll really open up that piece quite a bit. And then this way you don't have to do that whole gluing thing and wait nearly as long. But the piece still looks pretty doggone awesome. There is one thing you do have to do after scribing though, and that's sand it out. Clean up those edges just a little bit. Don't need to be too hard on it. Just once again, I just went with the 600 and 800. Clean it out in general, and there we go. A nice clean little scribe mark right there. You can see the white dust still in there. It's good to have a brush on hand with you as well, or a toothbrush of a kind to go ahead and clean that out. So that's where we go. I have this one side. This is actually a dual-sided piece, meaning this is going to be the same either way we put it onto the Gundam. So we want to do kind of the opposite. So I scribed a little bit on this side. I need to make sure that my line is on the other side this time around. So I'm going to do the exact same thing. Holding this down just to get started, using this to get started. Guide tape is really your best option. Using guide tape will really, really help out. And just starting out nice and slow. Once again, the size I'm using is 0.4 millimeters to make this panel line. And yeah, we might have enough already to get it by itself. Yep, there we go. Scribing it out. Nice and clean. And so we're making our own seam line here, just deepening it so we can make a panel line from it. I also really like to count how many etches I do. I didn't do it for this one. I'm just playing this one by ear for the whole thing. But if I'm doing actual scribing or like doing scribing like in a master grade Gundam where I have my guide tapes and stuff like that, I highly recommend counting them out. Same amount of pressure, consistently, but counting out the number of lines. And when you do that, you'll get some really fantastic results as well with your scribing. So, and that's why, especially for high grades, those little seam lines, if they're okay to be scribed out, I highly recommend scribing them out, and that'll make them so much easier and look pretty doggone great for your kits though as well. With just a little bit of extra work versus just sanding down the seam lines or mending them up like I am here. So we mended the seam line here in this arm piece, both in this is the outside and this is the inside portion. So this one actually looks like, yeah, this is a rounded side. So I'm gonna have my soft sandpaper, my sanding sponges for that. But this side is meant to be flat, so we're gonna make sure that this stays flat, if not get flatter. With our once again our polycarbonate. Once again, it looks like it's carbon fiber. It's not. It's a dirty, dirty liar. Especially because it gets nothing but sanding. But we're going to go ahead and flatten these out and make sure that they're nice and smooth. Starting with 400 grit, we're going to go down, we're going to go up the grits the whole way. I still have not come to the conclusion yet though on whether or not we're going to paint this Wing Zero. Paint the white on this Wing Zero. We know we're going to paint the colors. That's the best way to hide nub marks. But I haven't come to the conclusion on painting the white. It does look good a lot of times, but at the same time though, it's also nice to keep it pure. So hopefully everybody had a good Wednesday so far, a nice hump day. In addition to that, middle of the week, what better way to spend it than, in my opinion, building some Gundams. Alright, my 400 grit is done there. I'm going to do my 400 grit on the other side. Cleaning it up. I really wish we could, man, play some of that Gundam Wing soundtrack. So good! So retro. And so, oh, Evo Mikey, welcome, welcome, welcome. All right, I appreciate you joining in tonight. Working on, once again, I don't know if you've seen this one, but this is Wing Zero. This is the high grade for Wing Zero from Gundam Wing. It's a good one to do. And it's the newer one. So this is one of the, once again, it's the newer builds. Came out, you'll see, well, maybe not, right there, 2014. Instead of the original that came out in 1995. And Gundam Wing even came out over to America. Alright. I am going to jump over to now my soft sanding sponges so I can do the inner portion. Now once again, the reason why I'm switching over here, this is actually rounded, and so we want to keep the rounded effect of it. That other sanding block is super straight, which is meant for making super straight lines or super straight edges. Cleaning it up nice and good. There we go. 240 here first for, it's not, I mean, it says it's 240, but I don't know, this 400 feels even a little bit more gritty than this 240. The God Hand forms are really, really nice. If you can find them, I mean, they're $10 for the set of 5 here, but they last, man, I don't even know how long I've had these for. I bought them in Hobbytown in Cleveland months, man, was that even a year ago? Yeah, a year ago now, and I'm still, they're still performing just as if I got them brand new, so great, great pieces. Now I'm going to bump it up to 400. So I'm 400 on both sides. There we go. And once again, when we start going to higher end grits, you don't have to go nearly as long as well. It's usually the lower grits that require a little bit more time with them. So dropping that in. Going up to my 600. As well. There we go. Now, this is actually also something to really keep in mind if you are sanding something like this. We got an edge right here, or an angle between the two pieces, specifically. That being the case, it's very, very important to make sure that you are keeping that angle as nice and sharp and as even as possible. That can be actually quite difficult. I have had to change my sanding angle. That's usually when it gets messed up, is when you change your sanding angle. But you want to keep it as straight as possible though as well. And then of course, yeah, keep it straight. It looks good. Still staying pretty solid. Going 600 on the other side. With the sanding sponges. that's that so far. Almost done with it. Almost done, and then we're gonna get to our legs. Never skip leg day. Both in Gundams and on your workouts. Highly important. I've read that leg day at the gym is actually even more important because you have more muscles there, so it actually burns more when you and uses more energy to do your legs because there's more muscles to recover, meaning, hey, you get, you know, whatever your goals are a little bit faster. So I even try to include just a little bit of legs in every single workout though as well. It helps me fight gravity on a daily basis. I'm sure it does for you too. Gravity is a punk. I think we all maybe wish that we were Goku and training in 10 times normal gravity. Oh, that'd be great. Because what is it? If I weigh 200 pounds, I would weigh 2,000 pounds. Man, that'd be some weight to pick up on a daily basis. There we go. Well, hey, you know, I know even Mikey, you can't stay, but that's all right. You know, you got to go back to class. But the good news is they're also going to be stored up on YouTube. Just give me a little moment. This weekend I'll put them all up there for Gundam Wingsday and from this past week as well, so everybody can view in addition to that. So don't feel like you're going to miss out. We'll still show you what's going on. Show the progress of these Gundams. And so cleaning these up a little bit more. And so we've gotten to 800. Now, once again, I still feel like these other ones that I'm using are a little bit more gritty than the ones that are from God Hand. So I'm actually going to go one stage higher and get my 1,000. Probably going to go to 1,200 here to actually keep that going here. So I'm going 1,000 here, and it does look still a little bit rough and unpolished, unlike the God Hand side, and that's okay. Different sandpaper does work differently. I know that's the silliest thing. It's like the 800 grit is the 800 grit, but really, the God Hand version it's definitely a different kind of grit. And then even another one that I have, some other sand sponges I have at home as well, Madworks, they are also a very different feel of grit as well. So all of them are just, once again, a little bit different across the board there. So find what feels right for you. These two are my two favorite. I love these God Hand ones as well as this. This is a Display set here as well. They're really, to me, they're really good. And then of course the hardened frame of the straight edge that it has here makes for really solid edges for Gundam building. So I'm not going to go to the maximum, which is 2,500. This is my last one we're going to do for it, and then we're going to get to the legs. Main reason why we're doing this is, once again, we had to fill up a seam line here, but the seam line, you can see it underneath here. The seam line still exists, but on top, where we have been sanding, of course, it is completely gone. Yeah, that's much more polished. It still wouldn't be a bad idea to paint over this white specifically. So there is those pieces right there, all taken care of. I didn't bring everything together, so sorry guys, you won't be able to see a soft snap per se. I was afraid of luggage smashing things, the luggage from the airport, so didn't bring them all. And actually, the desk knife that I brought with me, the box did receive a little bit of damage, which I'm not overly fond of. Could have been my own fault though, too, to be honest with you. So a little bit there. Anyway, those are cleaned up now. We've etched in the lines, so now it's time to go on to our next pieces here. And we should be able to throw this all up together, get a good idea of what this is gonna look like. And it looks like, I mean, this is great right here. So this foot is just a full solid piece. So that means actually we can solidly paint it though as well. Oh wait, actually, hold on a second. I do think I see an issue. Maybe? Oh, let's start building and let's check it out. So, once again, always keeping your head on a swivel for the painting on a high grade. How are you going to paint it? That's really, really always on my mind here as I'm working on it. Not changing here either. We're looking at this foot portion easily going to be painted by itself. It will be just fine as is. But I see, yep, I definitely am seeing something here. The top of the foot, if I'm not mistaken, is supposed to be white. And interesting. Not seeing these. I don't even know what these go to, as a matter of fact. I thought they would be to the top of the foot, but they don't appear to be. So we've got, okay, so there it is. That's the top of the foot. So it is white. Hurrah. So that's the top of the foot. For there, that's a 1/16. We need a 2/16. Well, yeah, because they're two pieces. 2 feet. Go figure. All right, got that all clipped out. We're gonna get the PC pieces as well. There's gonna be 2 of them here, but we're actually gonna need to take a step back here before we even move forward. And look at the picture. So, okay, so I was worried that specifically right here at the edge of the foot, I was worried that that piece had to be red. And it actually snaps on, and it's going to be white. Pretty great. So that makes it easy for our painting. So our foot is going to be easily painted. Just the red piece is separate from the white. If we decide to paint the white, which if we do, I think I'm going to make a custom primer for it. Like a little bit darker primer. The gray primer that I have is just not dark enough, so maybe like 10 drops of gray to 1 drop of black. Ooh, or we could do ivory. Oh yeah. I do have an ivory primer, which I don't know if I've used it on anything yet. But it should give a really, really nice color, especially with the white painted over on top of it. Should give a really cool effect. So we're gonna soft snap this in, which what's that mean is that we're not gonna fully press it down for good reason, because we're gonna pull it back out anyway. This piece goes in here. It is sometimes the hardest ones to get, but it gives great ankle movement though. In general, this gives great ankle rotation for the Gundam. So it should be able to, this high grade should be able to handle some really good poses, as a matter of fact. Some real good ones. Once again, I'm not going to worry about sanding down these nub marks or anything, because this is just going to be painted over. So as long as I get it flat and good there, for the most part it is. Actually, that one, how can you tell if it's good or not? If you got a little bit of fingernails, I got a little bit here, but yeah, we got some clicking there, so that means that it needs to be sanded down some. I'm actually probably just going to go to 400 just to smooth it out a little bit. Get rid of that. Actually, I'm going to have to drop it down. It didn't go from 400. That's also the thing I've seen with God Hand, is that because their grits are a little bit different, sometimes I have to. This 240 is usually my general base for it because it just doesn't drop down the same way as other ones. 400 on like my Mad Works will get rid of that no problem. But yeah, now it's super smooth. Super smooth. I'm excited to work on these wings. They're actually the wings are going to need color accuracy, especially for the inside. The kit here only has it like panel lined on the inside, which I thought was interesting. That's fine by itself. It's fine that it's panel lined, but Wing Zero's wings on the inside are not white. They are pretty gray, if I'm not mistaken. At least they are in the master grade version. The master grade is usually pretty color accurate from the start, so I'm going to try to use that as fact, but I'm going to look at a few more images as well online to see what the wings look like in the inside. Maybe we do just need to panel line them, and that'll be it. Or we need to grade them out. I kind of like the idea of grading them out, though. And that will be a reverse wash if we do it, though. Especially if we do decide to go white. So in this technique, though, I'm deciding to cut it down versus actually sanding it down. So that way I can go with just that 600 grit. Sometimes that cutting is just a little bit faster. Oh yeah, super fast there, super smooth as well. Love it. Good stuff. Gonna soft snap. Yeah, that is a very clever design. Now, there is a thruster underneath, which means for this piece to fully be done, we are going to need to paint this right here, hand paint that. I mean, you could really try to tape it off, but right here, just this spot where there's going to be a thruster that goes in there, we're going to cut that out too. It'll be easy to pull off. Is it 29? Yep, 29. With that thruster there, it only makes sense that we paint that now. We paint that underneath though as well. So beautiful thing about the high grades here is like this little piece is a good way to get practice with your hand painting. So that is what high grades do for me, at least. So with this, this will need sanding no matter what. Any thruster, because it's straight edges versus on round sides as well. You definitely want to sand it. Give it the full treatment. But anyway, what we were saying here is for that piece underneath, it's okay to paint the whole thing red, and then go back and hand paint that with the whatever color you're going to use for your gray or thrusters though as well. Highly recommend matching those two up. You could, if you wanted to, give some burn marks on it if you've got an airbrush as well. What's also really cool though too, if you want to give some burn marks in a different way as well, is use some acrylic paint specifically. And with that acrylic paint, give it like 1 drop of paint to like 3 drops of water. And you're going to make what's called, is just a colored wash. It's meant to be soft, but in all actuality, like some engine burning, if you look at some jets specifically, a lot of it's still streaky. So use it like a wash and just streak that color up and down like really, really closely with your brush, and it'll be very liquidy too at that point as well. And so when you do that, it'll give that, you can also make that burn effect as well without having an airbrush. It's not as clean as an airbrush, I'm not gonna lie. The airbrush like burn effects looks really, really good, or I guess with the painting side, that would be considered a gradient. But you would have to go back in and put some streak marks anyway, because yeah, burn marks leave streaks if you didn't know. Just once again, look at some jet engine, look at some jet thrusters in general, to see what that looks like. And you'll get a pretty good idea in general. Sorry for the silence. I get really focused on these thrusters. They're to me a little bit harder to sand just because it's a circle, and with it being a circle, I'm going with it this way specifically, going in its vertical fashion per se, or going with the circle edges itself. The reason why is that it's a smaller point that is sanding at the same time, which means it holds, and what I've seen specifically is that it holds truer to keeping the circle than going this way. This way is where I have had the unfortunate event of sanding it too much to being very, it's flattening out that specific spot. So yeah, paint underneath that. Once again, I'm going to fully push it in just to make it easier to come out. This actually needs a little bit of cleaning right there, just like that. And now we finish this side. Sorry, I keep taking off camera. Viewing area is kind of small. I don't have my very far from having my normal setup. And what kind of desk doesn't have enough space to put like a mounting bracket on it? The desk space is like this big between the actual like tabletop of the desk and the openings of it. So there's no overhang as well at this hotel desk, and it's just like, because I did bring my normal camera mount to, you know, give the proper angles and stuff. But that was a negative Ghost Rider on that today. So cleaning it up at this grid as well, 600, 800. Keep taking it off camera, 100. And there we go. It's cleaned up. Doesn't matter which way these go in because they're the same. It's just a circle with a line on it on top. All right. Again, this is actually interesting because these points are not really cooperating very well. In this instance, I actually need to put this in first. Yeah, I really think we're going to use that ivory primer. That's going to be so cool. Ivory primer with that the thing on top. Yeah, with the white paint. All right, we got our feet done. Done real nicely. What the devil are those parts for? I'm looking at it and I have no earthly idea. Maybe they're the same as Wing Zeros? I don't know. It's not normal. I mean, Wing Gundams. I literally don't see them anywhere. So, and a lot of times, and actually this usually goes kind of unseen though, but in the instructions, it'll tell you whether or not a piece is not supposed to be used with an X on it. But no, those are supposed to be used. I just cannot find where. So I guess we're gonna just, oh, I know what they're for. I bet you. They are for the transformed version. And when you transform Wing Zero, you gotta cut out those pieces and put it on those different feet specifically. Yep, there they are. Here they are. These are the pieces that I'm talking about right there. Yep, you cut them out, you take off the old feet and put on the other feet. Oh, the good news. Oh, clever design there though. So the feet change up, but the panel line piece actually tucks inside the leg, so you'll never see the actual panel line. That's pretty clever. Well done. There is another issue though, and that is the white piece that's right here on it is actually all solid red, so that would have to be painted. And the same with the top of the foot. There's some white that would need to be painted too. I don't know if I'm going to have them in transform mode, so I'm just going to tack them up to extra parts, put them together, but not give them any more love than really what needs to be done. All right, let's go back to those legs. Them legs. And we are looking at getting these pieces on. As a matter of fact, I'm going to go ahead and clip this out to save a little. No, maybe not. Actually, yep, totally going to go against everything I was just going to say. So I'm not just going to say it. I'm just going to go to the next part of the Gundam. And it looks like we're actually going to have to do some more seam management here. Let's take a look. Oh, wrong tweezers. Or nippers. Yeah, and this is a very normal thing here, especially on the high grades. I'll show you what's going on. Yeah, we're gonna, one piece needs to be painted on this, and one piece is not gonna need to be painted on it. So this is leg. It's not saying duplicate, so I'm guessing it's just leg. This doesn't have the kanji for which leg it is, but interesting. It's the upper thigh. These we don't need to be very specific with. Clean that up. These ones we're going to need to be a little bit more delicate. Make sure we get some nice good clips. Oh, nice design, Bandai. Oh, yes. So, what we've got going on here is that there's a little indent right here in the actual plastic. It makes it stand out. The reason why that's important is because when these two pieces come together, like they will, like this, it's not going to have a seam line. I totally am super happy about that. So we won't need a scribe or glue. It's a really clever design, especially because it's going to be covered up too by the leg parts. So makes me really, really happy to see something like that. In case you didn't know, Bandai, I appreciate you. All right. Let's make sure we put this on the correct way. So that's pointed forward like this. This piece is, they gotta bend it back like such. And then this is gonna finish it off. Like, okay, wait, there's a nasty seam right there. So there's two options to handle this one. Once again, you can, this one came out great. You can't see anything back here. But the other one is definitely a different situation though. When we have options to clean that up. So let's look at our options here. And then we'll decide. If I had my guide tape, I would go with the scribing route, but I don't have my guide tape for this. This one particularly would be very important to have the straight line. The other one was so small that you probably wouldn't be able to tell if the line's straight or not. And it actually came out straight. So right here is the same line. We can see that. And it's not going to be, that portion is it going to be covered up? Maybe. Maybe. We're going to hold on to it. However, though, anyway, the thought of the matter is that you can scribe right here, of course, and then scribe on the other side to match it. And that actually kind of gives similar appearance to what we have here as well. So it would look really, really good with the scribing here, but without my guide tape, I don't want to risk it. Right now, I could get this line good, but I wouldn't be able to get this one nice and straight, free-handed, or even just holding that down. It's such a small work area for that. So if I had the guide tape, I would scribe it both sides no matter what, just because that would look really, really cool. It may be hidden though by the actual lower leg portion. So we're going to hold on to that before we actually glue it. Plus, this is a slide-in piece too, so we actually have time to make that final decision on it. So that's super great. So let's wait on that decision before we actually go that route. Let's instead get our thigh piece cut out. And this is a great one. I thoroughly enjoy this in the modern day kits. May need a little bit of sanding, but it's so much better. This solid piece here. We got some great panel lines here as well. And if you ever feel like the panel lines aren't deep enough, get that smallest, panel line bit here, and then just use the already existing lines to go through it. I can't take this off, so I'm not going to do any more panel lining with it. But it has actually got great panel lines already. And same thing for here. Like these little divot holes that are right here on it. Might be a little bit tough to see. The light's kind of harsh, and I have no control over it. Sorry. So that specifically will allow for some really, really good using like a hand drill. This is a hand drill. Got some drill bits that are about that size though as well. Drill those out a little bit more so that the way the panel line sticks in there. And so if you need to do that, I would actually go with first off trying to panel line it first, and then if you need it, drill it out. And you're thinking, hey, maybe what if we've already painted the Gundam? Well, that's still okay, because with it already being painted, you're going to panel line over it, and the panel line will just stick there too. So it's a non-factor, even at that point. I am going to have to do a little bit of sanding here, just because these are rounded, and so it just didn't get the best of cuts anyway. I mean, there's no preventing that, as a matter of fact. Just like with our thrusters, we almost always have to sand them. But yeah, Gundam Wingsday is moving along, and this is why I feel like when we have sat together and done the master grade, we would already been so much farther along than what we have. So these high grades do need that detail and that little TLC here to look great. But once again, they're a great size and a great way to just have your Gundam show off and show out, and work on those finer details and finer skills those as well. Oh, I mean, it's a really good model kit in general. It's a lot of fun build. It's gonna hide a lot of things too on it, and so it'll look real solid when we're done. This is once again a good solid build. So this is in there like, ooh, that's sticking in there good. Making sure I got it the correct way. It doesn't feel right that way. It feels like it goes on easy that way, but that's not the way it's supposed to sit. So clearly I put this piece together incorrectly. Be easy with taking these ones apart. They do like to sometimes break. They are fixable if you do break them. It's just obviously a pain in the butt. That's tight. That doesn't feel right. Either I can't read, which is just a picture anyway. So that looks long side down. That looks like this on the instructions. They have it like that. Okay. And this is supposed to go on. Like that's what. Yeah, short side goes in the back. There we go. Finally got it. Nope. Nope, didn't get it. It's so weird. I just don't know why I'm getting this wrong. Really, yeah, no idea how I am getting this so wrong. Alright. Like, okay, that makes sense. I think I got it finally. Thanks for bearing with me with my utter stupidity as I finally get this set up right. Alright. Woo! Yay! Way to go, guy! There it is. Alright, our next two pieces. These makes for some really strong legs, I feel. This setup that they have here in the booklet, 21 here. This triple jointed area for the leg makes it really, really strong and firm, I feel like. So we are going to, what do we need? We need B23, both going to be hidden, and B12. So you don't have to worry about the cuts being magnificent or anything. So we're just going to clip it out. And we are all clear. There we go. Especially because, oh man, look at those. Look at those nub marks. They're just awful. But, in all honesty, who cares? Who cares? Because you're never going to see them. In a million years. Not even you as the model maker. Because this is going to be covered up by armor when it snaps into place here as well. Underneath the armor skirt. Alright, so, okay, so it's having weird. So there is leg, upper leg, whichever one. So we're just gonna probably just do the next leg. See what this looks like. Alright, so we are needing a couple different pieces here. We need A12, A12 and A11. I'm going to do a little bit of close nipping for these spots, but these ones I'm going to give some more TLC to it. Give us some space, get my single blades to cut off those rest. There we go. I'm also going to go preemptively cutting out my other ones though as well. So I need A118. So I'm going to cut close here, close here. Looks good. Then we're going to get, what do we need to get? The thing. Actually, a lot of pieces making up these legs. It's great. I mean, I know they transform and everything, but so the attention to detail is great. So that piece. That piece. And then finally, we've got this one. All right, let's go to work. Cleaning these up. We've got 10 minutes left. We're going to use our 10 minutes to their fullest. There we go. And that's cleaned up. Almost done. Just a few more. All right, that looks pretty smooth. I think we're gonna have to do some seam line correction here with the glue this time. Yeah, right here. This seam is, I called it out before, but yeah, it definitely needs to be done. The design though of this, once again, this kit though is pretty solid to help out with it being snapped together well. And so I also got some heavier cement that doesn't dry so quickly. So we're going to try that out tonight too. See how that works with setting up the and fixing those seam lines. Because I think my extra thin is just starting to dry up. So I bought another one from Hobbytown this past week. This past weekend specifically. Oh, interesting. Very interesting. Alright, I'm gonna take that out for a little bit. Yeah, that snaps well. That looks great. This one, yeah, this one we could probably. Yeah, actually, we're gonna leave that as is. Probably just gonna paint the panel line there a little bit harder than just using actual like paneling, like a wash or anything at that point. But so, how far down does this go? Is really the question. Okay, so it goes down just above it. So we need to seam up that whole piece right there. So we're gonna put this together. Actually, that needs a little bit of sanding too. A little bit of that nub did not go away. All right, let's go up the grits. Yeah, I'm thinking more and more that I'm going to paint this white. Which means I'm going to have to paint all my Gundam Wing Gundams as well. But no worries. I love the uniformity of the universe versus just having to do the work for it. All right, there we go, that's that. Let's go get the seam stuff. No, actually, I bought that. Take it back. We just have this right here already. Your time is valuable to me. My time is valuable to me, so instead of going to dig it out and getting it all set up and everything, we're just gonna do it right here, right now. There we go. Now I did leave that final piece. Oh, this is actually a pretty big thing to note. So this PC piece right here sometimes pushes up against the actual cement as well. So you will have to probably hold this one in place a little bit longer than you normally would, or that I normally would. So I am going to push it firmly together here. So yeah, that PC piece right there pushes up against it, and it's meant to. But this is why I also wait 24 hours. I'm going to put this into place too. It can come off. This is going to help hold that squeeze together. So yeah, we got a nice good squeeze there. This curved part is going to be a little bit more difficult to sand than normal though as well. So I'm prepared for a little bit of a battle. And there's actually this, it's not going to be seen too much. Let's just make sure. Nope, it is, maybe. Yeah, not too much. But there is a little bit of a indent here. So if that's the case, then you just want to sand in that area, preferably with a file at that point, to go ahead and clean that up. But there's we got our first leg here. We got a final piece. I'm not going to put it into place. We're going to cut it out now. We need to let this, once again, dry up. Let that do its thing there specifically before we actually put this piece in here. Because the beautiful thing about PC parts is that it allows the expansion so the parts can be nice and tight. This goes up into that channel specifically, and as that is the case, we're going to wait to put this into place. But it is all cut out. And since we've seen one leg here, I'm going to go ahead and finish up the other one at a later time. We only have time for an hour tonight on all parties, so that way you're not missing a thing. We're going to finish up the other leg, and then that way we'll be good to go for next week's Gundam Wingsday. And hopefully, guys, if things go well, maybe we'll be able to paint. If not, then we will still be in that assembly stage. So I know I'm not going back to go get any more Gundam Wing kits from my home this week, so because I'm not going back home this week. Anyway, thanks for chilling with me for this evening. Hope you learned a couple new things to help out with your high grade kits, or any of your kits for a matter of fact as well. Take those with you, build some Gundam models, have fun, get some rest as well. Hope you have a fantastic week. Hopefully we'll see you Sunday for Gundam and Chill.